All right, I'm going to do a quick little rundown of how I've seen the market this week. And this is probably going to seem pretty abstract to anybody who hasn't seen this, hasn't seen my charts or my videos or whatever. But these blue lines are basically structure breaks. Sometimes they're like high volume nodes, sometimes they're low volume nodes. But the blue lines are basically key levels that I use. Cyan colored lines are previous important 5-day or 25-day points of control, rolling 5-day, rolling 25-day. And then, yeah, so I was looking at the charts on Sunday night, Monday morning, and I identified this 1 hour candle right here. I will do all of my narrative stuff on the 1 hour. And basically what this was we had this volume node here, and then we had some volume that was being built up down here. We had this swing high that we broke, and that was kind of like what framed this candle. I originally said 85 to 30, so that's basically this candle. But the range ended up being from 300 to like 200. So the range ended up being quite a bit bigger. If we were to zoom out, you'd see over here, this is our volume profile going back to like June. But we have this low volume node over here in this area. And so this right here, all this volume that you're looking at right here got filled in this week. So this would have been like non-existent before this week. Let's double check on that. Let's make sure that I'm not making shit up. No, okay, let's see. Oh wait. I might be making shit up. All right, here we go. So this is, but either way, you can see how that volume filled in, right? You can see how this fills in this area. So previously, when you look at this, right, you've got, let's see here, going back to like whatever last week, you kind of have this low volume node and then the shelf right here. And this volume is what we've been fighting in. So whatever that comes for, I don't know, something that I've been looking at. So on the chart, I was thinking this 365 is basically, and I've moved the line up and down a little bit since this, but whatever. I was looking for, I was seeing this as all that volume above, and I was seeing this as all that volume below, and so north of here was this major auction, and then south of here, this goes just way the fuck down to whatever. Like it just keeps going down and down. So for me, what I was doing was I was looking at prices relationship to the 65 line. And then that line kind of migrated down to like the 300 as we started filling in that volume. And now I'm kind of looking at that 200, but not exactly. Then what I say here, I said, if we see a volume build below 365.55, so that's this, and I would call this a volume build. Can we see a quick trace to 0.26? Yeah, I mean we did, right? I mean this was the line I was looking at, but we actually went down there. So let's see here. 9200 should support major chop below between. All right, so this is still like this is whatever. All right, I can probably just erase that. I don't even know what it means. All right, so we got. So I was looking at this little candle right here, and I was thinking that the bulls were going to defend this. We had a couple of, because of the tariff news and whatever, we had a couple of dips below it. So I've been watching, and then today I was mostly short, if I recall right. I was mostly short for the morning, but I was tentatively short, and then I basically I put on my chart these little blocks that are like you know, if something happens in such and such place, like if we build volume in here, then that's going to change my bias, you know, from this kind of range bound to maybe trending and coming back up and testing those all-time highs or breaking down lower. So I had those on my chart. Anyway, that was kind of how I was trading. I was just trying to take some shorts. I switched my bias. I got a couple of longs, and then up here I was taking a lot of longs, and there were multiple places today that I was willing to put on pretty intense size. So when you look at my P&L, you know, my P&L is like way the fuck up there. It's $5,000, right? This trade right here was just a long, or it was just an overnight hold, and I don't even think we can really take that into account. So really, I'm up 3,500 or so. So I think that's the truth of how we should be looking at my P&L today. So I'm up 3,500. But when you look at me being up 3,500, the reality is that I have a max loss on the sim account of $500. So I didn't hit that. And then per trade, I only allow myself to risk 25 points per contract. So I've been trading with size, but 25 points per contract, not a lot. So and today I never lost more, or I never had a position run against me more than that. I don't think I did. We're gonna do a little bit of a biopsy, but we're gonna look at this. So I mean, this is almost all winners, right? And when we look at my actual trade map, I think my biggest loser was literally like fucking $4 or something like that. It's pretty wild. So let's take a look over here. We're gonna look at the 125,000 volumetric chart and kind of put this into perspective. So, you know, when we look at that narrative chart, we're going sideways. We've been going sideways since Tuesday's open, right? And we continue to go sideways until, you know, this breakout that basically happened within the last hour. So, where's my little arrow? All right, here we go. Yeah, sweet. So how I was trading today, as I'm looking for volume builds above distributions, right? So like this is a decent distribution. Then we had a volume build above it, a volume build above that. So like in this case, I was still sleeping this time, but in this case, I would have been long until we took out a key volume area. Then this would have been a volume build inside this wick, and that would have told me to be short. I would have been 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 tentatively long. I would have been short again. I would have been short again. I would have been short again. Here's the breakout. Be looking for longs here, whatever. So this is, and we're going to see that on the trade map here in a second. So basic setup. We didn't take out the IB low. Didn't take out the IB high. Let's go. Let's look at the next. Look at the next chart. Now, like I said, I allowed myself to size out there multiple times today where I allowed myself to get up to 35 contracts, 35 micros, which is huge for me. That's just huge. But it depends on the clarity of the situation. And I didn't start trading until 10 o'clock in the morning. So when you look at 10 o'clock in the morning and what price was doing at that time, $294, but 120 point range, right? Pretty tough. This isn't today's open. I don't think this is today's open. Might as well be. I think it was yesterday's close or something like that. Okay, yeah. So today's open is like down here. Not that I really care. I'm not going to show my trades on this because it would just be fucking crazy to see. But I think what I will do is this. Yeah, here, I'm going to attach this one chart. No, attach window. Where is it? There we go. Attaching the chart window. Let's get this guy over here. Let's get this guy up. Let's put him over here. Let's do a little side by side kind of situation here. Oh, come on, man. Come on, dude. There we go. All right. So let's get over here. First trades of the day. Yeah, here's that where I close out that long-term hold. So I haven't even looked to see where I put it on at. It could have been like something from last night. All right, so take the short. I had a short bias here at 1104. The reason for which was because we had this build. I mean, it's crazy, right? Like I can just see it right now. I'm just like, yep, volume in the wick. So I have a short bias. Taking the short, spraying them on, allowing myself to have a little bit of size because I felt like the setup was clear. You can see that on these trades like this one. So I was in at 13. This one against me 8 points. This one didn't even go against me at all. This one I was in at 20, or yeah, this one went against me 11 points. So very little price going against me. So I was short, and then all of a sudden I switch over to longs. I switch over to longs at 11.23. There was something that happened here where we maybe it was this. That wasn't that wick. That wick wasn't in yet. Something happened here where I was like, man, this feels like a long. We're switching over, and it looks like we hadn't put in. Yeah, we're coming down to this blue line. We're coming down to this volume, and probably that's what it was. We probably came down to this volume, and then we bounced up, and then we put in. Yeah, here we go. Then we put in a higher high, and then yeah, it would have been on this where I was like, okay, yeah, we're long. So I got in. This was decent. I probably got a little lucky there looking at it. Then we broke down, and then when we came down here into this volume, this was in my argument zone. So this was the zone where I was like, we have to build volume in here and then, shit the bed. And we couldn't, the initial balance had already been set. I was trying, and so I was in breakout mode with these trades. So I was trying to kind of size in, keep it tight, size in, keep it tight, this trade went against me. This was great. So this is like the first loss on my chart. I think this little red line right here for a massive $2, maybe $3. Oh, here's another loss for like a break even. Right. So then we came up here, got short here at 92, six went against me 6 points. Got a really nice exit on that one. Same thing over here. Whatever. I don't know how much that got. One against me. 6 points. Got a nice exit right there. I think it was at this point that I decided to make some lunch. Came back with a vengeance. I was like, all right. So it was at this point here where we're building volume up above all these wicks, right? Up above all these tapers. We're building volume, and I'm still kind of not really believing it because we have this volume here from the open, and then we have this volume here from the open, and both of these, I'm thinking to myself, this volume is going to cascade us all the way back down. So I'm buying the top of the range, but this volume here is different than this, right? It's different. This is price acceptance. And I was looking at this as like, now this is my ability to go long, and so I was buying down into this shelf right here. I was like, these buyers are going to prop it up. So these were my entries, right? I'm just trying to size in, trying to get a nice long. Super nice exits, super nice exits. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that I wasn't holding it all the way up, but it is what it is. I can always get back in. And then we ripped, I think right here, I made more food or something like I was still hungry. And then I came back, and this is where it gets kind of awesome. So, um, let's see here. In at 23, low was 18. So biggest one against me was 8 points. Um, stop would have been at the overnight low. I have a video of all these trades and how they went down though too, but I think the stop would have been underneath the overnight low. My philosophy in this situation right here is I'm willing to take inverse risk reward. And the reason why is because the market is giving me such a clear sign that it wants to go higher that I have to accept more risk because the reward is more obvious, if that makes sense. So like I get up here and I'm like, all right, I just got to have a wider stop. And market's already showing me what it wants to do. Sure enough, we went up. This right here, that low, if you look over here, that is a point of control from our 9 a.m. Footprint on the 125 volumetric. So came down, we hit that. That's the IB high, or no, the overnight high as well. Then we come over here. What do we do? Boom, boom, boom. We're in, we're sizing, and we got up to. Oh yeah, this was dope. This was dope. This was a really decent trade. So we had I don't know if I got in with 5 or if I got in. Yeah, it must have been. It looks like it was 5. But I got in. I added. We came down. We had the 3 candle reversal. I added. So at this point, I'm up like I probably had. I think I had 35 contracts on right here. Bam, bam, bam. Took it off. Then came right back down. I added just perfectly right there. Then I was like, all right, I'm going to try to hold it a little bit more. So at this point, I'm 30. I'm probably long 30 from 21. It went against me 4 points. Peppered them out. And then I held. And I was able to just rock this, right? So, I mean, this is 42, 20 points, 25, 30, 35 points, whatever. Got it. Tried to hold a runner, which I did hold. We got this little pullback. I added on the pullback, peppered all those out, got out up here, added to the position again on a pullback, peppered them out on the way up, added again on a pullback, peppered them out on the way up. And it looks like this one, max pull down was 7 points. This one, the biggest pull down was 7 points. So pretty tight, pretty fucking tight today. Big size, tight stops. Felt like I read the market really clearly. And then, going back over to, winner and losers, how many contracts did I lose on this one? For whatever, how big of a lot loser was this one? A point. None there. One there for a big point. One there for a break even. Yeah, so that was my trading day today. I don't usually trade with size like this, but I kind of want to start trading more with size like this because I feel like I can. I like how I can get out, pepper them out, and try to keep a runner. It's just, yeah. So, how was the day?